And we are live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome everyone to the MBA Litmus channel. I'm hoping that you're all keeping well. In this session today, we are discussing XLRI Jamshedpur's SOP. A lot of people had texted in terms of how do we go about writing the answers. A lot of interesting questions inside the XLRI SOP, both BM and HRM, is what we are discussing in this session. So if you are somebody who's not able to structure your thoughts within these questions, then this is the right session for you. For all the people new on the channel, make sure that you keep the channel subscribed and also share it across with anybody who's having an XLRI call so that they can get benefited from this session itself. Let's get started. I'm hoping everybody is able to hear me. Can we all quickly confirm in the chat? And if you have any queries with respect to Excel, do make sure that you drop me in the chat. I'm going to take all the questions from the chat and answer that as well. Welcome everyone. Hoping everybody is able to hear me and we are ready to begin. सबसे पहले hoping everybody is able to hear me and is able to sort of understand what we are discussing today. Let's get started. First off, we'll keep it absolutely brief. सबसे पहले many congratulations to the people who have the Excels, BM and HRM call. Let's get started with the session. सबसे पहले let me quickly talk about what are the questions. So सबसे पहले if I start talking about the questions that are there, first question is identify a major challenge confronting the contemporary business world and explain why it particularly interests you. Max is 250 words is what you have to mention. Now this major challenge can be anything. It can be a geopolitical turmoil also, which is obviously impacting the business world at this point in time. And why it interests you, you can mention it primarily interests you because obviously India is a very important player at this point in time as far as the geopolitical arena is concerned. We have recently concluded the India EU FTA, which is also called the mother of all deals. So India is right now standing at the center of a lot of key happening in the in the geopolitical arena, in the business arena, and that is something which is absolutely amazing. So obviously that's one thing which you can talk about. The challenge particularly is also the opportunity to stand true to the expectations, to effectively make sure that we are able to deliver on the promises, we are able to deliver on the opportunities that are there. We are looking at huge markets. We are looking at like 2000 lakh crore market, right, which is approximately six and a half times the India's GDP at this point in time. So it's a huge market, which is the European Union. There is a lot happening from a geopolitical standpoint at this point in time, wherein the UK is also trying to move towards China, which had or used to have an allegiance with USA at a point in time. Canada, which also had US's allegiance at a point in time, is also moving towards China. Relationships between India and US have sort of gone to somewhat south. India has strengthened its relationships with Russia as well. So a lot is happening in the global arena from the global geopolitics standpoint, and obviously it's something which is going to impact everybody, right? So there are a lot of challenges that you can discuss. You can also discuss about the challenges with respect to, let's say, resource or manpower, ability or capabilities in terms of, let's say, if I talk about the demography, which is considered as a boon for India, can it be considered as a bane also? Because a lot of sectors which require skilled labor, there is some level of upskilling which needs to be done before it can be utilized. So from your experiences, what is important is to connect it with your own experience, what you have felt, what you have understood through your undergraduation or through your internships or through your work experience. It will be good to connect it and personalize that answer. The only suggestion is do not generalize that answer. That's one very, very important element. On the first question, which is identify a major challenge. Okay, let's move forward to the next question. The next question says that over the past year, have you actively pursued opportunities to enhance your knowledge in any field? If so, please elaborate. Now, have you actively pursued opportunities, right? That is the question. Now this if you have done something, for example, let's say it can be swimming, it can be music, it can be anything which have you have pursued. It is not necessarily academic in nature, right? If you have actively pursued opportunities in terms of internships, in terms of projects, life projects, anything of that sort. You can mention about it. Do mention what have you done, what have you learned, and what are the challenges that you have faced. Or if you have had any achievements in that arena, you can mention about that also. Even if you have not done anything, you can mention about how you have worked on your personality development skills, on your communication skills, on your number skills. Because again, once you get inside the B school, number skill also becomes important. So if you believe that you've done enough inside your CAT and ZAT preparation and you have strengthened your number skills, you can talk about that also. Remember, no learning goes waste. Even if you learned for CAT, it is good enough. Do not discount it. You have done good work, even if you have prepared well for CAT and that. So you can absolutely mention that if in case you haven't pursued anything else from that standpoint. I'm hoping that part is also clear to you. Take pride in what you have learned. Do not discount it. Okay. Moving ahead, describe an experience that genuinely changed the way you see success, leadership of or your future. Why is this right moment for you to pursue a management education? Now, there are two parts to this question. First part is uh, describe an experience. You have to talk about a situation or an experience wherein you believe it's a turning point from the standpoint of success, from the standpoint of leadership, right? I believe anything which you believe has transformed you into a better person, you can mention about that. That is something which you should do. And the structure that you should use here is a star framework. You should start with a situation, talk about a task, talk about action, and then result, right? So that's the first part of the question. The second part is why MBA, or why MBA at this point in time. That is specifically something which we have done as part of the HR questions. Most of you have also done your HR reviews, but if in case there is any confusion, you can connect and get it reviewed. Anyways, we are going to review the Excel forms. The Excel mentors are already reviewing the forms at MBA Litmus GDPI program. So we'll also share, we've already shared in the group as to how do you get your SOPs reviewed, right? I'm just sharing the important pointers so that you can structure these answers well. Okay, for people who've not yet started, with their preparation, can get started with their preparation for GDPI to effectively convert their, coveted Excel calls. We've also shared, the number in the chat. You can effectively drop us a WhatsApp and get started, understand about the programs and how the preparation works and how we can help you absolutely convert your calls. Yes, let's move forward. Let's talk about the next question. It says, tell us about a time you changed someone's mind or direction when you had no formal power. What approach did you take? What resistance did you face? And what did this teach you about working with people? Again, do make sure that you answer every component. That's very, very important. First thing. Second important thing is we have done a similar question inside the HR assignment as well, wherein we talked about where you have influenced somebody or convinced somebody after facing resistance, right? So that's the same question which has to be answered here. Just remind yourself that you have to answer each of these bits properly. What approach did you take? Let's say, for example, if I have to convince somebody, I will take a logical approach. How did I go about? Can do a pros and cons analysis. I can do a cost benefit analysis. Make sure that you talk about a logical approach, and not that कि मैंने threaten कर दिया इसको, threaten करके मैंने convince कर दिया, वैसे नहीं. ठीक है. It is also mentioned that you have to talk about an instance where you were not formally in power. अब जैसे for example, if let's say you are the authority and if you have to convince somebody, it's easier for you. But if you are not the authority and yet you are, let's say, convincing your manager, your peers to do something, that is something which shows that you have power to influence people or convince people, right? That is exactly what we have to mention here. I'm hoping that this part is clear to you. Let me talk about another series of questions, which is, from the standpoint of, HRM, right? Okay, let me talk about of the other questions. Okay, data-driven works, Akila, absolutely. Data-driven, you can absolutely write, right? So I'm hoping that part is also clear to you. For all the people new to the channel, make sure that you like the video if you feel that the inputs are helpful. We'll keep coming back to help you with everything relevant. In fact, we're also planning to do a very amazing budget session for everybody. So do make sure that you like the stream, keep the channel subscribed so that you're not missing out on important information. Okay. Sushant is saying, sir, can I write the time when I had to convince my parents or that does not work? Sushant, if you have somebody from an academic or a professional background, then that example will always be a preferable example. If you do not have, then you can finally resort to personal examples. Okay. But the preferred one should be academic or professional from a work experience, from an internship. That is something which you have to do. Again, for example, आप अपने घर वालों के साथ tantrums थ्रो करोगे फिर वो मान जाएंगे. But that's not the case at work, right? So you have to show how do you use logical thought process to convince people. That is what we have to do. Clear? I'm hoping that part is also clear to everybody. Let's move forward. Talks about describe an experience that changed how you understand why people behave the way they do. Explain what changed in your perspective or thinking. Again, anecdotal question, situational question, star approach is what you have to use. What you should prefer is something from internship, work experience, academics. Again, that has to be preferred. Okay. An experience where you understood the people motivation to do things. For example, let's say, when I was in sales, I used to run incentive programs for my team, right? So when I used to run incentive programs, I would see team motivated to achieve the targets, right? So I understood that, for example, beyond a point, recognition is something that people value. Incentives is what people definitely value. Respect, correct? Team spirit, bonding. We used to, when I was, back in time when I was with Aditya Birla Group, we used to do a lot of sports. Even till this point in time at MBA Litmus, we do some, kind of sports. Day before yesterday, we had a team, for example, team dinner. So we effectively keep doing those elements because we believe that these things also matter, right? So have you also encountered such things to effectively impact people motivation, understand how they behave and why do they behave in that manner? So you have to discuss about that element in this question. And do you think that such incident or such anecdotes have changed your perspective towards how you look at people motivation and how do you effectively get people to do the work after understanding them properly, right? So that is something which you'll have to mention in this case. A very important input is do not use AI tools for creating your response. AI assisted responses reduce authenticity and may weaken your application. Now, Excel has very explicitly mentioned that. A lot of other colleges have not, but we have always maintained inside the GDPI program also, if you're writing something, do write on your own. Do not basically use AI to write it. If you have to correct grammar, you can take a lot of grammar apps that are there. Grammarly is there, grammar check is there. You can effectively use that to ensure that you are writing these answers properly. Okay. Share a specific conflict you were personally involved in. What caused it? What did you do in the moment? And what guided your response? Okay. Now remember, conflict is not always negative. Conflict can also be positive, right? There are many instances where, for example, we and let's say our colleague or let's say our manager have conflicting ideas, right? The idea which is good from an organization standpoint is if you are making sure that the conflict is resolved properly through reasoning, through logic, then you are the right person for the team. Okay, that is what you need to showcase and think of an example where there has been a conflict that you have seen. Again, a situational question. The structure should be star again here as well, right? So talk about an incident again. What is from a professional standpoint, internship, work experience, academic graduation is something which is preferable as compared to something personal. One important element to understand is that do not give all the anecdotes from, let's say, work experience or graduation or let's say internship. Try to have some variety also. Okay, I'm hoping that part is otherwise, you're talking about only graduation. Even if you have work experience, goes on to tell you that you've not had very rich experience at during your work, journey, right? That is something which you also have to bear in mind. Some level of diversity is also important while you're writing these answers. Okay, I'm hoping that part is clear to you. Next one is share a decision you made that significantly affected you or others. What influenced your choice? How did it impact people involved? How do you reflect on it now? Again, an incident Again, an incidental question. You have to again use a star approach in this question also. This effectively tests your decision making skills. Do you make decisions in a rush, or do you think through? Are you quick on your feet, or are you somebody who, for example, goes to the depth of the problem? Are you somebody who understands the essence of time, or are you somebody who takes a lot of time while deciding? This in a way also showcases your personality to the interviewers. Do make sure that you are honest. Do make sure that you actually do introspection and think about an anecdote where you have done any form of decision making which affected you or others. If the scale of impact is greater, obviously that's a better example. But do not make it up. If you've not done something, you don't make it up. Trust me, there are a lot of anecdotes which are not verifiable. And basically, for a certain, let's say, a conflict, you don't get a certification for resolving a conflict, which basically means that you can also forge or, let's say, fake a story. But the fear is, or the biggest danger is that if you get caught, then it's a straight reject for you. So do not do that. Think. It's better to think and sort of get an idea as to what has happened. Slight variations is okay, but you shouldn't like be creating stories out of nowhere, because otherwise when they actually start grilling you, then you sort of start panicking and it goes haywire. So think of it very well, very properly. We're going to also review that. We have shared how to get it reviewed, at the MBA Litmus GDPI. For people who are yet to start, can definitely get started. Can drop in a text. We have, the contact also shared with all of you in the chat as well as in description. Okay, I'm hoping that part is clear to you. Identify one HR practice or policy from your workplace or from the workplace of someone you know and examine why it exists. Okay, so one HR practice can be anything that you would want to, let's say, for example, build upon. It can be leaves policy, it can be compensation policy, it can be rewards policy, it can be performance appraisal, right? It can be, let's say, allotment of HRBP to different functions. Can be any policy that you can talk about. Only recommendation or request is do not criticize it too much. Do not take extreme opinions. Make sure that you are absolutely balanced in your thought process. And also mention that if it is required, if that policy is required, and why is the reason why that policy exists, and do you believe that it's something which is useful, and if you actually move into an organization, would you also want to carry that policy or not? Right? That is something which we are going to do. Okay. I'm hoping that part is clear to you. Ricky, you can also drop us a text for if you have any queries with respect to SIPM. We're going to take that also. In this session today, we are primarily looking at the Excel one. Says, share your perspective. What can be done to improve that practice or policy? One thing I will repeat again, do make sure that whatever you are mentioning, okay, um, you are absolutely answering every part of the question. Mystic is saying, I mean, I just want dedicated SIPM prep. You can also do that. Mystic, you can find about the programs. You can drop us a text. We are sharing the helpline in the contact, and we'd be happy to assist you with that. Okay, so one simple thing to understand, everybody, is if in case you have any other queries, drop me a text. We'll get started. I'm hoping the questions are absolutely clear. We are also effectively evaluating these for people who have already submitted with us, and for people who are yet to, we will keep evaluating it. And the mentors from Excel are working relentlessly to effectively evaluate it and to help you guys. I'm hoping that this session was useful. We'll keep coming back with nothing but useful sessions. And that's always a promise. And we will effectively make sure that we keep helping you through your journey and even afterwards. Thank you so much for joining in. You've all been absolutely amazing. Do keep supporting the channel, share it across with your friends and MBA buddies. And I'll see you all in the next session. God bless. This is your friend and guide Sudhanshu signing off for now. I'll see you all very, very soon with a very interesting budget session as well. Do keep the channel subscribed and like the video. God bless and bye bye.